Hello, you lovely listeners. I'm Amy. Welcome to the Really Good Conversations podcast, where we will delve into the minds of the business people we have met in the process of launching our first card game. We will be uncovering their secrets to success, their biggest mistakes, and sharing the key lessons they have picked up en route. So, if you're looking for an engaging chinwag mixed with business insights and a good pinch of fun, you're in the right place. Let's have a really good conversation. Welcome to the Really Good Conversations podcast. Today we are joined by Michelle Ferron, founder of Good Tuesday, formerly known as Once Upon a Tuesday, a sustainable, conscious stationery brand known for its beautifully designed calendars, planners and diaries. Michelle started the company in Cornwall during the 2020 lockdown and leveraged a gap in the market for stylish and sustainably conscious stationery. Welcome to the Really Good Conversations podcast, Michelle.
Thank you so much, Amy.
Thank you so much for coming to join me today. And I would just really love to chat to you about your 4-year journey with Good Tuesday. Can you tell our listeners a bit about what inspired you to start the business mid-pandemic?
Yes, definitely. So I started just kind of, I lost a number of clients at the start of the pandemic because I was doing marketing for clients, and I had time on my hands, and I was really lucky because I did have 2 kids at that time, and we lived in a neighborhood where they were outside all the time during lockdown, which was really lucky. We weren't in a city; we had lovely outside space, and which meant that all of a sudden I had all this time on my hands. No running them around. No, they were just out, feral. And so I'm a busy person. I like to be busy. I create challenges for myself. And I just started learning how to design. That was kind of my project, learning how to use proper graphic design programs. So I was starting with Adobe Illustrator. And I also was looking for a birthday calendar, which is a Dutch inspired calendar. In every Dutch household, we have birthday calendars on the back of the bathroom loo door. Downstairs loo has a birthday calendar. It's a calendar where you add everyone's birthday to year after year. And it's sort of a Dutch cultural thing. And I designed one because I couldn't find one I liked. And I printed 10 locally. And I thought, well, I'll pop them on Etsy because I'd seen a few on Etsy, but they weren't quite to my taste. And I sold 7 overnight. And this was sort of, wow, what's this? So that was kind of quite inspiring. And I thought, okay, this is fun. So I started designing some more calendars. And then later that year, Etsy featured one of my calendars in a global newsletter, which just prompted a huge number of sales of this calendar, which now I look back, it looks awful. But now that my design journey is further along. But that basically just gave me it was kind of a feasibility study, I suppose, and gave us some cash to start this properly as a business.
Wow, that is amazing. And you're now 4 years into the journey. What have been some of the challenges that you've faced along the way? So as you mentioned, you've sort of fallen into it from a bit of a hobby, if you will, and then now it's obviously a full business with a team. And what have been some of those challenges?
Yeah, I think, Amy, we've come to every challenge that every growing business hits, and I think it's just part of the game. I mean, initially the challenge was dealing with customer service and communicating with people and trying to divide your time, so not having enough time to do everything you want to do and deal with your customers. And it's that balance between creating versus success, bringing other tasks up that take your time away from growing the business. So that was the first challenge, which we solved, of course, by hiring someone to take on those parts, the packing, the customer service. So that was brilliant. And that was, a big step in the growth. And then we've had lots of other challenges. So soon after we started, we had Brexit, which, initially the sales picked up to Europe quite a lot, but that kind of just threw that out the window. And then I don't know if you remember, but Royal Mail here in the UK had a big strike one Christmas, which was very challenging. They were also hacked another point, which meant that we couldn't send any mail overseas. So that was a big challenge. We've had another issue with their Royal Mail system where something went wrong with an invoice. I can't remember the details now, but it meant that our shipping system wasn't working, and we had to manually ship thousands of orders and put addresses in, and it just took, like, we just had to pull in loads of people to help us sort of manually put in addresses. So those kind of challenges. And then now, we're growing more, and we have a lovely team in place. And now it's cash flow. That's a big challenge for any growing business where you're growing your working capital, product-based business. So yeah, lots of challenges every day. But I think that's the game we're in.
That all resonates with me, absolutely. Because equally, I remember we got caught up with the Royal Mail strike a few years ago, and just as you're speaking, then it's the reminder that when you create a product and start down this journey, it's almost like that product, those items, become almost a small part. It's all of these other operations, logistics, cash flow, marketing, all of that actually is what is the constant day-to-day, as you said, those challenges, curveballs that come up along the way.
No, absolutely. And another thing was we were hacked. Our Instagram and social media was hacked one December. The worst time. I was on a train trying to get a flight home and got hacked, and they spent loads of our money on fake ads, and also we couldn't use any of the social media that in our peak we had prepared to put out. So that was really challenging. So let that be a lesson for anyone, to make sure that all your channels are super secure, because that is just a risk you do not need to take in any business.
And those companies, when those problems do happen, there's never anyone you can get hold of and speak to and get it sorted out.
No, I hounded Meta. I'm not sure if it was Meta at the time. It may have been. I hounded them for 6 weeks every day without sort of straight answers. And then one day in February, just as our peak was ending, it came back.
Oh, crikey.
So now we're extra hot on security, and because there's a lot of that around. So if anyone takes anything away from this podcast, make sure you have all your security in place online. Yeah.
You're making me think I'm going to be getting off this recording and going, Alex, have you got everything?
No, it's really worth it. Putting password protectors and double opt-in and everything. Yeah, it's totally worth the time.
Wow. And as well, along with the challenges over the last 4 years, there have been some, really positive and significant milestones for yourself and the team. Can you tell us a bit about some of the key milestones that you guys have been through?
Oh yeah, I mean, we've been really lucky, and I feel so grateful. Some of them, the first milestone was hiring other people into the company and building a team, and that's just been wonderful. I've met some amazing people along the way, and I've got a great team. So that's been brilliant. And part of that team is my partner in life, and also in business, Angus, who runs the business with me. And he joined nearly 2 years ago now, full time. He's always been sort of on the sidelines, but that's been a great milestone, being able to support our family through the business. We've also had a very exciting one, which is becoming B Corp. So start of 2024, we became B Corp certified. So that was an excellent milestone. And I think every day we have little wins and milestones that we hit. For example, on our Etsy store, Drew Barrymore picked 3 of our products for her selection last week. So that was very exciting for her back to school collection. There's lots of highs and a few lows, but yeah.
And at what point, obviously, as you mentioned, you've initially launched on Etsy, and so initially in the digital space. What point did you start to go down the retail wholesale direction?
Yeah, so we started just with the Etsy, and then moved on to our website, which is on Shopify, great platform. And then this platform came by called Fair, which you may have heard of. It's basically the e-commerce equivalent of wholesale. And I decided to put the products on there 1 year, and we didn't do much else, just put them on there, and it kind of ticked over. We had a lot of American retailers interested in us, and again, that sort of gave us a bit of a feasibility that, hey, retailers want to work with us, and we really strongly believe in that. We want our high streets to be full of lovely products and people to be able to to support independent retailers with, we don't just want people to live their life online. I think it's really important to be offline. So supporting that through our journey is important. And then my partner Angus came on board, and he has worked in wholesale before, so he's taken that on. And now we go to trade shows and we work with lovely retailers all around the world.
Amazing. And tell us a little bit, you've been on a journey obviously this year of actually doing a bit of a rebrand, a brand evolution. So from Once Upon a Tuesday to Good Tuesday. Can you tell us a little bit of how that came about and why you decided to go down that route?
Yeah, so when I started, I created a logo on Canva in about 5 minutes. And that logo served us well for 4 years. But that was it. There was no brand identity. There was nothing really much more than that. And as we're growing and we were looking to work with different people and partner with other people, it became apparent that we needed our identity established somehow, something to share with others, to know how to speak about us and how we look and how we feel. And even though we were able to create a fairly consistent brand feel, it wasn't established somewhere. There was no brand guidelines or brand book. And then when we were talking to a professional about this, they questioned the name. And all of a sudden we thought, actually, that is something we want to change. The Once Upon a Tuesday was great. It was a fun name. It was a great story behind it, but it wasn't iconic. It was magical, and we're not really magical. We're really about practical. We bring practical solutions through our products. And and it was a long process. We got the whole team on board and really established what we're about. And Good Tuesday just felt positive and down to earth, and it kept that Tuesday element, which we're all about dated and calendars and stuff. So we settled on that, and then have developed sort of our brand colors and our fonts and all of that kind of stuff, but also really firmed up who we are in terms of our values and our mission and our vision. So hoping to pull everyone on the team together, and our partners and our suppliers and everyone we work with, to really understand who we are and use that as a guiding light.
Brilliant. And we touched on before the B Corp certification, which is obviously an amazing achievement, a milestone for you. How do you balance the need for profitability within the business and the desire to actually maintain ethical and sustainable practices?
I think that's a really good question. I think that's the question every company should ask themselves, because Angus and I don't need a super yacht. We don't need excess amounts of money. We just want to run a great business where we benefit our community. And yes, of course, we need to make a living out of it. We like to make a decent living. But I think a lot of companies around the world now make so much money, the big guys, that it's excessive. And so that's the first principle we're working on. And I think we just want to run a business in the way that we'd like every business to run. So where it's not just about profit, because it's very easy to make decisions based just on profit. And they are most often to the detriment of the environment or the community or the people, right? So we just choose to run a business that doesn't do those things. So we look at every decision through the lens of the environment, sustainability, and also through people and community. So that helps us. That's our guiding light. And if we can't financially make it work in that way, we rather not run the business.
Yeah, because it is a challenge. Obviously we've equally worked with our supplier to make our products plastic free, recyclable, made in the UK as well. And that development does come at a cost as well. It is more expensive to be producing in that manner, and it's whether or not consumers equally will support it enough to understand, well, if we do want to do these positive things in product development, you're going to have to pay a little bit more sometimes to actually achieve that.
No, absolutely. We're gonna, not everyone's gonna want to pay the price attached to products that are developed with this in mind, because it does bring a slightly higher price point. But I think if you can match really great quality products with that, it's we're not just selling it on those are kind of, we want those elements to be just a given. We want to sell products that are just great and bring people what they need, and also be beautiful in their homes or their desk. So we want them to choose it on the product first, and then feel good about making that decision for a company that cares.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel you must have equally had quite a journey yourself over the last 4 years. Obviously, you've got 3 children, so this has really been a very busy period for you. How have you personally managed your role as a business owner, and how do you think that's influenced your own personal development over this time?
Challenging. I think running a business with 3 children, especially when we're, both of us are involved in that, is challenging. But we are aware that we can't do the things that 20-year-olds do without any ties, and we sometimes say, if we did this when we were 20, we would be working all hours, and but now we don't. We work within our set hours, and then we focus on the family, and that's just, again, that's the balance, that's the boundaries in which we are able to run this business. That doesn't mean on a Saturday I won't go and scoot off for a few hours, do some work, or one of us will pull out a laptop in the evening when they're in bed, and and when we're on holiday we still spend a couple of hours working. So it doesn't mean we're not pushing all the time. But it also means that we just have to set priorities in a different way, and we need people around us to support us. And those are just the boundaries of our business.
Yeah, definitely. Equally agree with a lot of that as well. Obviously with Alex and I working together and with a little one, we joke that having your own business just means you get to work 24/7 if you want great. As well. And the laptops come everywhere just in case.
Yeah, and my teenage girls have now started mocking our conversations at the dinner table and pretending to have business conversations, mocking us, because inevitably the conversation goes to work. But we try and avoid, of course. But I don't think the thing balance exists. I think you go through phases throughout the business. There are times when things are more comfortable financially, time-wise, and there's phases where you just push the edge and you feel utterly guilty. And it's just making the most. And I think my thing that I say to other people is just, it's with the kids and the family. It's about quality time, and that's just when we're together, we are together. We try and focus on each other and spend that quality time. Yeah.
Lovely. Before we go on to some of my questions from one of our packs, what do you think is one of the most valuable piece of business advice you have had on this journey so far that you would equally pass on to somebody who is thinking of starting their own business or has a small business?
Oh, there's so many pieces of advice I'd pass on. I think the first thing is to just be kind. I know that sounds really arbitrary, but I think when you learn to be kind to yourself, and also to others and everyone you work with, and particularly your customers, that makes your journey so much easier and so much more comfortable when you know that's always the foundation you work with. When you have an unhappy customer, which we're all going to get now and again, if you treat them with utter kindness, they will come back and turn around, and that just avoids that conflict in your mind if those things bother you. So that's one of my pieces of advice, I would say. And then the other thing I would say is one foot in front of the other. That's just, if you are consistent, if you are great and consistently good, you will get there. You just have to not want to get there right away, just one foot in front of you.
That is a great piece of advice and great reminder, because I think, yeah, we can all fall into the trap of trying to think so far down the track and rushing there. And actually, it's just taking these little steps by steps along the journey.
Absolutely. And just always thinking about, one every day, just trying to do a little bit better and a little bit more. And I think that's really the key to success, focus. Just focus, patience, determination.
Brilliant. Thank you for them. Right. Well, I'm now going to pick out some questions from our pack, which is a really good Conversations for Kids, Volume 1. And I'm going to ask you 3 questions. So question number 1. What flavour of ice cream would you be and why?
Oh, well, I'm going to have to go with my favorite ice cream, which is hazelnut gelato. That is my absolute favorite. And I think it's sweet and savory, that combination that I love, and a little crunchy, preferably. And I think that actually describes me quite well. I like the sweetness. I can be firm and direct and have that sort of Dutch angle to me. And I'm not polished, and I'm crunchy.
I like it.
So hazelnut gelato with a bit of crunch in there.
Fantastic. Question number 2. What was your biggest highlight from last year?
My biggest highlight from in the past year?
Yes.
Gosh, that's a good question. I think my biggest highlight, we just went to a festival with the kids, and we took some time out. We haven't done much of that this year, and we just had a lovely time with the 2 teenagers and the toddler, which sometimes can clash a lot. But we just had a lovely time dancing the night away and camping together. So yeah, that was my highlight.
Oh, brilliant. Question number 3. If you wrote a book, what would it be about?
Oh, gosh. There's a lot of topics I'm passionate about. Small business being one, storytelling being the other, and just planning an organization. And the other thing that I'm passionate about is eating well, whole foods, healthy living. So I guess something that
do a chapter.
merges those together.
Yes. Well, I'm just thinking, because as you highlighted, you need, if you're in the small business world, it'd be good to be doing your planning and organising. You need to eat well to keep yourself going along the way. So, yeah, I think you could bring all of those topics together.
And then the other thing I often think about, because I have an ADHD brain, and I've overcome a lot of the challenges I've had through my life through habit building and healthy eating, and all of those kind of different elements have gotten me to use that to be a superpower rather than something that stops me. And that might be a book I'd like to write. Not that anyone might want to read it, but there's so much about that out there. But for myself,
I would definitely be interested in that, because I think you've had such an inspiring, fascinating journey over this last 4 years and prior. So it's really, I think it's always great to hear from people like yourself, and I think that would be an excellent book. So let me know when it's available.
I don't need another project, I tell you that much.
Exactly. I think we all have the bright shiny thing. Off we go to another project we could take on.
Oh yeah.
That is brilliant. And the last question that I like to ask all of our guests is, if you could ask any person, dead or alive, a question, who would it be and what would you ask them?
So I think this question I would answer differently every day. But I guess my first thought is Nelson Mandela. And I would probably ask something about overcoming adversity and then taking that to leading with resilience, and kind of what advice he would offer to someone in a position who's trying to balance life. And that's who I would love to have a chat.
Fantastic. That would be, very interesting answers, and I think a lot of great guidance there. Brilliant. Thank you so much for your time today. Really loved speaking to you and just, hearing a little bit behind the scenes of Good Tuesday, and really look forward to seeing what you guys do over the next coming years.
Thank you so much, Amy. It's been great talking to you, and we love our deck of cards that we have. We have it in the workplace, and we sometimes pull them out over lunch, and create some fun conversations. So thank you.
Oh, that's brilliant to hear. Thank you so much. Thanks for listening. I hope you enjoyed the episode. Be sure to check out the show notes for more information on today's guests. And if really good conversations are your thing, hit subscribe and join us next time for more business journeys, insights and banter.